All right, one of America's top allies now turning on the West. Their ultimatum: give us what we want or we'll flood you with our migrants. Another lose-lose situation on the world stage. We cover that next.
And desperate.
We are back with a Fox News alert. America's ally in the Middle East is turning on the West. Turkey is threatening to flood Europe with millions of migrants if the European Union stalls in sending billions in aid and money as it's part of the membership talks. In a warning Friday, Turkish President Erdogan said, and I quote, "If you have betrayed your promises," he's speaking to the EU, "if you go any further and stall our membership further, those border gates will be open," Turkey bordering the EU. Joining us now is retired General Anthony Tata, former Deputy Commanding General of U.S. Forces in Afghanistan and the author of the novel 3 Minutes to Midnight. He joins us right now. General, thanks for joining us. So this is a situation where membership into the EU has been stalled. Turkey's frustrated about that, and now it's lashing out and saying we are going to open up our borders and flood potentially your continent with refugees. It feels a bit like blackmail. What is this situation?
Well, I'm not sure who's blackmailing who, Pete, because the European Union promised $6 billion to Turkey to hold 3.5 million refugees, and they've given about a tenth of that to Turkey, who's got the care and feeding of all these refugees to deal with. So at the same time, Erdogan is no saint. He's had a coup that he's had to put down. He's got Kurdish rebels in the east, and he's got ISIS on his border, and he's got a lot of problems. However, he's 67% popular guy in any poll that's taken there. And so this is a classic brinksmanship standoff between Turkey, that is the fulcrum between the Middle East and Europe, and we, President Obama, we are nowhere on this issue because the president is just not interested. And this is a long-haul strategic interest for the United States and the West, quite frankly.
Absolutely, General. We're going to put up a quick full screen just to show how many refugees Turkey has. 3 million, 2.7 million Syrians, 300,000 Iraqis. You open up those borders, Europe is flooded even more. This is a problem we know a great deal about, but it also speaks to sort of the future of NATO and what Turkey being a NATO member, Erdogan increasingly moving in concerning ways toward authoritarianism, toward Islamism, and Donald Trump has been critical of that, of some aspects of that NATO alliance. I want to get him on tape here and then have you react to it.
Yeah, I think, Pete, Donald Trump has called this exactly right. NATO sometimes works in half measures. The European Union is very much the same way. Those parliamentarians sit in their velvet chairs and vote to slow roll the Turkey's accession into the European Union. Meanwhile, they're a member of the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe. They're a member of the Organization of Cooperation and Economic Development, and they are a good long-term member.
But I think, General, the
for
concern is that if they're moving in an Islamist direction, does the West, including the United States, want to trigger Article 5 to defend an Islamist Turkey? I mean, that's a real question, right?
Well, you know, Turkey is Islamic, but it's secular, and so
but Erdogan is pulling it in the wrong direction.
Erdogan is trying to consolidate power, and so I think it's a two-point play here. One is you got to get the EU and NATO to do its job, and two is you've got to talk to Turkey unilaterally and say, hey, look, you're an important strategic partner. You're great because you're secular Islam. They're 99% Islamic, but they're secular, and they have a democratic government, and they have a capitalist society, and we need to maintain that because that's the buffer between the chaos in the Middle East and Western Europe.
General, we got to leave it right there. Thanks for joining us and answering those questions. More Fox and Friends.
Thank you, Pete.
Next.
I am totally blind. I lost my sight in Afghanistan.
If you're totally blind, you may also be struggling with non-20